Well, joining me to speak more on this is Mohamed Okda from Insight into Crisis, and you spoke to the press earlier today. We just saw that. So you were his friend, you are his friend, and yes. What can you tell us more about him, first of all?
I mean, Jamal Khashoggi is a well-known Saudi journalist, and we all know he's a very decent man. He is a loyalist to Saudi Arabia. He's actually a monarchist. And he has been part of the intelligentsia of Saudi Arabia for many years. And he's a supporter of his country. He recently wanted to voice his opinion about quote unquote, the reform that is happening now in Saudi Arabia, and he wasn't happy about it. He wasn't happy about the jailing of many of his friends, either journalists, scholars, businessmen, and others. And when he felt that he himself is being threatened, when he was banned from tweeting and banned from writing, he decided that the best thing for him is to leave his country and go into exile to the United States.
I mean, the allegations of what the Saudis may have done is horrific. I mean, what do you make of it all?
I mean, we know by now that we are certain of that he went inside the consulate and he never came out. So the conclusion is he's either kidnapped or he is killed. But when we look in the circumstances that we haven't heard from him for almost a week now, and the Saudi Arabia denial of having him and of having him exit the building, on camera. They say we don't have camera footage of him, coming inside or exiting the building. In my home in the United States, I have cameras. I look up on the phone and there is a recording of it. So I don't understand how a country the size of Saudi Arabia, with the current security risk they are facing everywhere, not to have a recording of the cameras. It's a clear indication that something bad have happened inside the consulate, and they are not being accounted for it, and they need to be accounted for it, and they need to say exactly what happened to him and where is Jamal, dead or alive.
And so, I mean, people who knew him, they always say that he wasn't a person to take unplanned risks. So what would make him a target? Why would he be a target to them?
He's a target because he is insider knowledge of the Saudi Arabia business, Saudi Arabia politics, the ins and out of the regime. He has been a close friend of the former head of intelligence for 25 years, Prince Turki Al Faisal, and the former also ambassador to the UK and the US. What he knows about the system of Saudi Arabia and the current quote-unquote reform and issues could have been extremely sensitive, and the Saudi Arabian regime would not have wanted this to come out, and the only way for it to assure that it doesn't come out is by kidnapping or killing him. And we all know that Jamal was very well connected. I mean, he has a column at the Washington Post. He's connected in Washington. He's connected in Europe. He's connected across the Middle East. He has many friends who are standing up for him right now. And these friends would have been critical to Saudi Arabia for their current affairs.
So what are the international implications of all this? Do you expect US to get involved?
My information is the US involved on a very high level. They are looking at it from a legal point of view at this time, and also a political point of view. But since we don't have any concrete evidence so far, there is nothing for them to comment about it. But he was a US resident, and that gave him some kind of protection under U.S. law, and his congressman and his senator have been involved in voicing their concern about his disappearance and his whereabouts. We've seen other politicians in the U.S. and other well-known people, writers and like Tom Friedman in the Washington Post, demanding to know what happened to him and pressuring the United States government and Saudi Arabia to try to find what happened to him.
Well, I'm sure it's very difficult, and thank you very much for coming here to share your thoughts with us.
Sure, you're welcome.